Do you want to work us through what's next for you? How long you'll be in that sling, when you can do full training, when you can play, all those sort of key notes for us?
Yeah, it's sort of a little bit up in the air at this stage. Obviously, you can aim for a really aggressive recovery and perhaps come back a bit early, or you can be pretty conservative. So at this stage, we're aiming to be back sometime in the first month of the season as soon as possible. Generally, the surgeon puts a 10 to 12 week recovery, so I guess either side of that, hopefully earlier rather than later, but it is a long season, so if I am to miss a couple of games to make sure that I can play the whole season and hopefully finals, we'll do that.
So you're thinking round 3 is the earliest?
I haven't put a round on it at this stage. It could be round 3, it could be round 4, could be earlier, so at this stage, in a sling for a few weeks just to make sure it heals as soon as we can. And look, the positive thing is I haven't missed a session in pre-season. I've got a really good base under me, so fitness-wise, it won't really be a problem. It'll just be getting contact work in and giving it enough time before I have to do that contact work so it crafts.
You've had a fair bit of time now to think about it. If you could have the moment again, what would you do?
I have thought about it a lot over the last 2 weeks. Look, water skiing is something that I've been brought up doing. I first skied when I was about 3 or 4, so it's something that I understand there's some risk involved. I do my best to decrease the risk as much as I can. I'm very conservative out there and don't push myself. I understand I'm a full-time athlete. This is my job, and any injury that I sustain outside football jeopardises my career, obviously. But this is one thing that it was a freak accident. The rope pulled my arm and unfortunately pulled my shoulder out. So it's something that I do my best to minimise risk while I'm doing, and this was just a freak accident.
But if you reflect on it, if you did have the moment again, would you say that you shouldn't be doing it?
I think in the context of things, I've probably got to look at the times I'm doing these things. Perhaps this close to the start of the season, only 8 weeks out, is maybe an unnecessary time to be doing it. So I've probably got to look once I'm all healed, and obviously next year now that footy season's starting, that the times that are appropriate for me to be doing it.
So you won't stop doing it?
No, it's something I love doing, and at this stage, it's something that I'll continue to do, and obviously I've got to take more measures now to decrease the risk even more. So whether that's not wakeboarding and just skiing and just keeping it to a couple of times a year. But look, this is something the club supported me through for the 6 years I've been at this club. They understand that this is a passion of mine, and despite there being a little bit of risk, they know I do my best to decrease the risk.
So when you say timing, would you say do it last year, like before Christmas, and then not do it after Christmas? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, perhaps I've got to look at the time coming into season where, fingers crossed, I never injure myself off the field again, but if I happen to, or one of us players happens to, we've got enough time to heal before round 1 so we don't miss football.
What was the reaction here when you had to deal with the debrief of what had happened, and what sort of advice are you being given, and by whom?
Oh, look, our club's incredibly caring. I have to really respect them for that. Kenny, Chris Davies, KT, Koshi, they're incredibly caring people, and I guess their leadership's what's turned the club around, and no one's more disappointed than myself. Extremely frustrated, and I understand how frustrated all the supporters are and everyone, but I guess the amount of care I've had and been shown by everyone to understand it was an accident. I'm not going out on purpose to try hurt myself. Is really good for me.
And that's what Ken said to you? How he reacted?
Oh, obviously Ken is really disappointed with me missing training and perhaps missing a few games, but he's a very caring guy. He's a father figure to all us, so obviously he's disappointed, and he understands that I'm disappointed like anyone, and he's the first to wrap his arms around me.
Has anyone at the club suggested give up water skiing?
Obviously, I get a lot of suggestions. Perhaps that's the answer. But I think I've got to find a balance between perhaps not giving up, because this is something that makes me incredibly happy. It's my outlet outside football. We're really big on work-life balance, and it is an extracurricular activity that does have a little bit of risk compared to playing golf or something, but I think I've just got to find the balance.
Ollie, what does it do to your position of being captain and waiting? Do you think a moment like this makes people reflect and say maybe you should wait a little longer, or do you think you're still ready to be the captain?
I wouldn't have thought it'd have any influence on being captain or not. I look on the captain that I've had for 6 years in Travis Boak, and he's the most happy and caring guy, and he lives his life off the field and really enjoys himself. He does a lot of surfing and activities like that, so I don't think that has any reflection on captaincy at all.
Would you stop one of your teammates who hadn't done water skiing before from having a crack?
Yeah, that's, I guess, the other debate. You've got to weigh up the competency in someone water skiing. Obviously, there's a lot more risk in someone who's never done it before going out and having a go to me who's been on the water for 20 years. So there is definitely good merit in that, understanding what people are good at and what not.
In those 20 years on the water, have you had any other moment?
Never hurt myself wakeboarding at all, or water skiing or barefooting or anything. So first time in 20 years, yeah.
Is there a chance you might have to have a shoulder reconstruction at the end of the season?
Yeah, obviously there's a big chance. I've had sort of the fix up at this stage, and all things going right, we'll get through the season with this, and obviously at the end of the year we'll reassess then.
So is there any concerns that you'd be, sort of carrying this shoulder through the season, like given the way that you play, the way you attack packs and what makes you the footballer you are? Is there any concern that can sort of limit your ability this year?
Not at this stage. This is repairing the shoulder, so back to what it originally was. The only thing a shoulder reconstruction does extra is tighten the capsule around the joint. So Jackson Trengrove had this surgery about the same time I did, about 3 or 4 years ago, and he was able to play out the year, and I'm told that his joints are obviously very bony and he had long arms, so I'll take to surgery a bit better.
Do you sense you then become a target on the field because of it?
Look, these issues are forgot pretty quickly. I wouldn't have thought so.
Ollie, just from the cheap seats back here, what have you made of the criticism? It seems like every man and his dog has had an opinion. Some pretty high-profile people have said that it was an irresponsible act or not befitting of someone who wants to be a captain of a football club. Has that offended you or been over the top?
Not really. Everyone's right to their opinion, and I think I'm pretty I guess close-minded in understanding what I like doing and what my teammates enjoy doing, and these are things that bring us together, and we go up the river all the time together and have a weekend away. These are things that, despite the risks involved, have numerous benefits for us as a group. So everyone's right to their opinion, and I respect that, but look, we're pretty tight internal here, and we enjoy each other's company and doing these things.
You've obviously got thick skin, but from a family perspective, I know your brother was tweeting out as well. What sort of effect did it have on the family? It seems like it struck a nerve. Yeah,
look, that was disappointing. My brother tweeting that, and I've let him know that it's not acceptable. He's young and naive, and obviously it struck a chord with him. But I've made it pretty clear to him not to put that stuff out on public forum. But in terms of that tweet, I respect Kane Corn's opinion and anything he's got to say. So yeah.
So some of your teammates who regularly water ski with you as well, who might not be as experienced, are they still allowed to water ski as far as you're aware? Yeah,
definitely. We're given the trust to make decisions what we do outside football, and obviously, as I alluded to before, there's certain levels of competency in doing these activities, and we make it quite clear to each other if you aren't able to do something, well, there's no point risking it. So we've got a lot of really, let's say, top water skiers and top golfers and top people at whatever they do outside football, that there is some risk involved, and each person's got their own little activity that they like doing.
Ollie, we're only a few weeks now from JLT starting. Do you expect the club to make an announcement soon on the captaincy?
We haven't heard too much as of yet. I think Ken's pretty keen to make a decision before JLT starts. So yeah, in due course it'll happen. But as you've seen, there's been another number of senior and junior leaders sort of trialled for that role out on the track. So it's been really enjoyable to see these guys do that.
Would you be in favour of the club going down the direction of having co-captains?
Look, I don't have an opinion on it too much. Obviously, there's a fair few clubs doing that at this stage. It's sort of a little bit about what's best for the club at the time. So I guess when we come to that bridge, we'll decide. But at this stage, we're sort of still seeing sort of the candidates put their hands up, and the young and upcoming leaders as well.
And what's the doctor's orders from here? You just rest and recover? Can you go for walks or something?
Yeah, I can be quite mobile. It's all about sort of obviously letting it heal, but getting as much range of movement and keeping myself active as much as I can. So at this stage, just riding, walking, helping with training as much as I can, and probably in the next couple of weeks we'll look at perhaps being able to get out of the sling and run. And I guess as soon as I be able to run, as long as that I can prepare as well as I can to play footy. It's just leaving it as late as possible for that contact to make sure it all heals.
Who steps up, Ollie, in the early part of the season while you're not there?
Oh, look, we've got a number of guys that can step up to play midfield. Sammy Powell-Pepper's training really well. I've seen a lot of composure with ball use with him, and his fitness has come along. Sammy Gray, who's had a couple of stints back in 2016, 2017 in the midfield, he's an incredible ball winner, as we once saw for the Magpies, and he can come in there. And probably the one that talks himself up a bit is Hamish Hartlett. So obviously Hammer's back out on the track flying around, and he still bangs on to me about how he's got left out of the mids about 4 years ago. So I think he's pretty keen to get back in there. So perhaps he can go through there. But we've got a lot of guys that can be flexible in their roles to play any position.
Joe Atley, someone who can do that role as well?
For sure, yeah. Joey Atley and his housemate, actually, Willem Drew. Willem Drew's, I swear he keeps growing. He's about 192 centimetres now. He's got a really good frame, and he's so intelligent. So I think his footy smarts can be really beneficial.
And just on Hamish, must be great to see him back out on the track. I think he was with the main group this week for the first time.
He is, yeah. No, it's he's a really spiritual leader for us. He carries the boys along, and it's given us a real boost to go into February, seeing him come out here and train. And look, I think he's nearly back to doing everything that the main group's doing, so he's had a really good recovery.
As far as the captaincy goes, is it something that you've actively sought, and do you feel you are ready for that role?
Oh, look, it'd be a great honour to captain this club, and I'd love to do it, but at this stage, I'm one of many candidates could perhaps fill that. Do I think I'm ready? I do think I'm ready to captain this club, but I'm not the one that has that say. We as a playing group, as a coaching group, as a club, get to decide that, and that'll take its place in due course.
Well, in terms of how the year didn't pan out last year, what lingers into this year that you can turn into a meaningful energy to propel a different result?
What lingers from last year?
Yeah, well, rather than make it
I get
something that's a negative, how do you turn it into
Yeah, I guess probably the first 16 odd rounds, the position we were in there and the football we were playing, we were top four and perhaps looking at a top two spot, and unfortunately due to 6 bad weeks of footy, and that's what happens in this league, it's so competitive, that we were bowed out and didn't play finals. So I guess seeing the base we had, despite having a few guys perhaps underdone, Tom Rockcliffe's flying now, Stephen Motlop's having a career best pre-season, so a little bit added from these guys, as well as I guess the draft crop that we've brought in this year. I think it's really exciting.
Of the new, last one, the draftees, do you expect any of them to perhaps be pushing for round one, kind of Rosie?
Yeah, definitely. I would imagine definitely probably Rosie, Dersma and Butters at this stage. The other guys aren't far behind, but I've been incredibly impressed by what they've done. They don't look out of water out there at all. They're slight bodies, but they're so quick and agile that the big guys can't get near them. So they'll be a very big chance for round one, I'd imagine.